All right, guys, today I'm going to show you how to do 1-point perspective, drawing objects, exterior buildings, and interior rooms. The first thing I want you to do is sketch 2 rectangles on your paper. These rectangles serve as a representation of a smaller paper or just a boundary I don't want to go outside of. So after you draw your 2 rectangles, I want you to just focus on one at a time. I'm going to start on the left one. I want you to draw a horizon line. And a horizon line is a line where the sky and land meet, or the sky and water meet, either one. Now I want you to draw a vanishing point. The vanishing point is just a dot where all lines converge or go back towards. Now we're going to draw a couple squares to represent exterior buildings or objects in 1-point perspective. I'm just going to write 1 point at the top of my paper. So first, we're going to draw on the horizon line. Anything on this line is at eye level or street level. I'll start by drawing a square around the horizon line and my vanishing point. This just represents an object or a building that you're standing right in front of, so you only see the front of it. I'll draw another square, and it's best that you use a ruler. So let me do that. And then I'm going to use my ruler and my vanishing point to draw those converging lines going towards the vanishing point. Now this square is about to be a cube and be a 1-point perspective. So to make this into a cube, I'm just going to draw the back line for my cube. I'm going to shade it in just so you know that these are 2 different planes. So this is the front of my cube. This is the side of my cube. This is 1-point perspective at eye level or street level. If you wanted to draw 1-point perspective above the horizon line, this would be worm's eye view because you're looking up at the object. And since you're looking up at this object as it's floating, you're going to see the bottom of it. So to draw this square in 1-point perspective, and on the side, I'm going to draw or write worm's eye. I'm going to use my vanishing point, and I'm going to connect a line from the vanishing point to these 3 corners of the rectangle or cube, if that's what you drew. So now this is in perspective, but we have to make it into an actual cube or object. So I'm just going to draw some lines to represent the back of this cube. And then I'm going to shade in each little side. So you can now see the front, bottom, and side of this cube. Last thing I'm going to do is draw an object underneath the horizon line. This would be considered bird's eye view. I'm going to draw a little rectangle. Make sure your lines are straight. And I'm going to write bird's eye. Now this is called bird's eye because you will be able to see the top of this object. So using the horizon line, my vanishing point, and my ruler, I'm going to draw 3 lines that connect to these 3 sides of my rectangle. That was a little crooked. And now this rectangle is in perspective, and I'm going to turn it into a cube by drawing those back lines. I'm going to shade it in so you know that I have 3 different sides showing: the front, top, and the side. So this is how you draw objects in perspective. Let's say this was a building on a corner. This is the perspective that building would be in. If you were drawing a building that is taller, you would of course extend these lines to start on the horizon line or below, depending on what it is you want to do. And then you would see that side of the building. Now I'm going to show you 1-point perspective of an interior room. You're going to start again drawing a horizon line and putting your vanishing point in the center. And now I'm just going to draw a rectangle or a square around my vanishing point. This represents the back wall of my room. And again, this little outer rectangle just represents a boundary or a smaller piece of paper. Now that I have my back wall and my boundary line, I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to put it on the vanishing point in the back corner of this square. This is going to help me start creating the side walls and the ceiling of this room. Now, what you don't want to do is use your vanishing point and connect it to this outer line or the edge of your paper, because that's not putting it in perspective. What puts the room in perspective is the vanishing point in the back corner or the back wall. And I'm going to do this for all angles. So I should be using a pencil so I can erase these lines inside, but I'm not. So I'm just going to darken it with a different color. So now I have a room in perspective. This is the ceiling, the floor, and the two side walls. Now, if you wanted to draw an object flat on the floor or on the wall, you would start by drawing whatever side is closest to you. So let's say this is a painting or a portrait. And then I would use my vanishing point to connect to that edge of the painting and portrait, creating this little area, and then I would draw the back line. Now, this line is longer because it's closer to me, and this line is shorter because it's further away. When you're doing perspective, anything that's further away starts to appear smaller. So let's say I wanted to draw a rug. Start with that line. I use my vanishing point to put it in perspective, and then I'll draw the back edge of the rug. So now I have a rug in perspective. I'm gonna just shade that in a little bit. Boom. If you wanted to draw a 3D object in a room, you would use these exact same steps, but you're paying attention to if the object is on the wall or on the floor. So I'll draw a couch. And I'm making sure the bottom edge of my couch is touching the back wall and the bottom corner of the floor. So this is the shape of the side of the couch because this is the side closer to me. Now I'm going to use my vanishing point to turn this into a 3D object. And I'm making sure I connect it to all available points or angles of this couch. And now I'm going to turn it 3D by drawing this little outer shape in the back. And it's going to appear smaller because it is further away from us. So now I have the back of the couch and where you sit, but it's kind of hard to see that this is the seat of the couch. So I'm going to draw another line to this corner. And I'm just going to do some directional lines to show that this is flat and this is flat. I'm going to do the same thing to the back of the couch, showing that this is the top and this is the back. So this is how you draw in perspective. I'm just adding a little lamp, little ceiling lamp. And if I wanted, I could add a table on top. And just sketchy in the legs. Now, after you draw all of your objects, it's best that you go in and erase all of these directional lines. But that is how you draw in perspective. So when you're drawing in 1 point perspective, anything that's on that back room wall will always appear flat. So you don't have to use the vanishing point or horizon line.